Hello everyone! Welcome to the very first live Q&A of Sugaridoo on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining along in the studio week. I had such a great time. It kind of really felt like you were here and I could show you around and celebrate the new studio together. So this is new for me, so bear with me for a sec. I have my phone here and I have my chat on my phone. So I can read your questions over here, but I thought let's first go around in the studio to show you what it actually looks like when I work here, because during the videos of the studio tour, of course, I clean everything a lot, and now I've been working in here for a while again. So I'm just going to give you a quick tour on what it looks like right now. Just going to check. Yeah, I can see in the chats that you can hear me and see me. That is perfect. So let's see. Here we go. So this is pretty much the same, but over here you can see already quite some difference. I got a lot of fabrics in and I've just stored there somewhere. So this door is not really accessible anymore. Yeah, a lot of batting and fabrics. These are all for the Bernina quilt along that's coming up, and my new foundation paper piecing book. And also over here, lots of fabrics. So a lot of fabric came in for the kids. This area is most of the time also not quite completely empty. So I have projects and fabrics lying on the table of my Q16, and when I have to work there, I just move it or make sure to clear it out of the way. And then on my table at the moment, here we have on my table, I got plants. That's new in the studio. And here are blocks for my new book that just came in from the testers. So that is something that's there. Over here on the floor, lots of fabric that I've been cutting together with my mom for making quilt kits. So a lot of stuff is always laying around in my studio when I'm working here. And a question that I got in that I haven't showed you during the tour was, where do you store your ironing board? So my ironing board is hid away over here. So let me see if I can. This is going to be the most organized live Q&A on YouTube, I'm sure. So my ironing board is over here. And when I use it, I just place it on my table, pick my iron. That is normally here. Not sure where it is now. But yeah, that is where I store my ironing board, which is lovely to be able to just put it away over there. And on the other side of my table, I actually have the same kind of space. So that is over there. And in here, I store my cutting mat. So actually, that super large cutting mat that I always use, it fits in there perfectly. So I can store it away in there, which is so convenient. And one last thing that I forgot to show you during the tour is this side of my table. So there I have all my boxes for packing orders are stored neatly below my table. So I think that is kind of what the studio looks like normally. There we have a big box of rulers that just came in. So lots of stuff just everywhere. Here I have fat quarter bundles and half meter bundles that I've been cutting. They are in the shop by now, by the way, but yeah, that is kind of what it looks like over here. And someone asked also, don't you sit on something behind your sewing machine? But I have this little one that I use for sitting behind my machine. Oh, exciting. So there's already 100 of you watching. Hi there and welcome. I have a little notebook over here with things I should not forget. But for now, I think we're just going to dive into the comment section and see what questions you have and answer them. So let's see if everything pops up over here, if everything is working. So there we go. Yes. So I'm just going to start at the top and we'll see how far we get. If there's a lot of questions and I can't answer all of them, we'll just see. And at the end of the live Q&A, I will have a nice announcement about the foundation paper piecing course that's going to start 5th of October. A question was asked before the live Q&A started if there is shipping to Scotland and if they're shipping to the US. And there is. So I have international shipping. I ship worldwide. It's just pretty expensive from the Netherlands. So to Scotland, Ipsy said it's about 15 euros per order. And outside Europe, it would be around 35 euros, I think. So yeah, but I do ship worldwide. So if you want to order something and you have more quilters around, maybe you can gather your order and I can ship it at once. Yeah, that could be possible to lower the shipping costs. Ria is asking, wonderful studio, because you always talk English. She's writing this in Dutch, but I will translate. Because you always talk in Dutch, I wondered if you live in the Netherlands or in America. Fun question. Well, I live in Lemmer. Lemmer is in the north of Holland, a little town, village, and that's where I live. So not living in the US. Boa says, thank you for your, oh, wonderful. Lots of comments. I'm just going to scroll until I bump into another question. Everybody saying hello. Hi, everyone. Isn't it wonderful that we are together with so many people from all over the world, that quilting is something that we share together? I think it's awesome. Hello from Germany, from the northwest coast of the US. Deborah is saying hello from North Carolina. I asked about those myths you showed earlier in the week. What do you mean with myths? Are they available? Can you ask that again, Deborah? Hi from Canada. Hello from Egypt. Yes, Karen is saying the studio is so neat for having stuff all over. Yeah, well, I cleaned it up, and then when I clean it up, it kind of looks like this. There's the first question, I guess. Karen is asking, what stitch blade do you use when piecing a block? I love to use a stitch blade with only one hole in it. So on here, just going to explain it, even what a stitch blade is, because maybe new quilters are joining. So this is a stitch blade, and this is a slot where the needle goes in. And you have, so this is a wider slot so that you can make a zigzag stitch. But I use this blade when I'm, for example, sewing baby clothing or something like that, when I need to have a zigzag. But normally when I'm quilting, when I'm just doing straight line quilting or even piecing blocks together, then the only thing that your needle does is going up and down. And they say that it's the most precise or accurate when you use a stitch blade with just a little hole. I'm not sure if that's available for all kinds of machines, but Bernina has multiple kinds of stitch blades. So here you can see the difference clearly. So this is for zigzags, and this is just a straight line stitching blade. And I use that for doing my piecing. Mary T asks, which part of creating a quilt from design to binding is your favorite? Good question. I think that varies a little bit. I often really love the start of an idea until I've drawn it out and know what to make part of the process. So when I have an idea like the giraffes, I want to make something with giraffes, and when then it clicks and I know, yes, this is going to be it, and I'm going to draw it and know how to make it. I love that. Also because that involves the kind of mathematical drawing and figuring out the puzzle of how to make it. Really like that. And then the cutting, I guess, not so much. And the piecing, I do like, because then everything is going to come together. And the quilting part of it, I'm starting to like more and more. So when I first started quilting, I found quilting my quilt pretty scary. I think everybody recognizes that. But the more quilts I'm making, the more I enjoy that process, and I just kind of go and then see how it goes. And of course, with my Q16 and even with the 770, when I started to use rulers, oh, that's something I really love. So yeah, I'm very excited about that. So I also love that part of quilting. Let's see. I'm already out of breath. Time for a cup of tea. With my super large mug. I did got questions about this one, by the way. It's from IKEA. It's nice and big. It's kind of a bucket of tea. Norma is asking, are you going to provide the fabric requirements for the upcoming quilt along starting in January? Yes, it's just going to be like last time. For those of you who joined the last time in the Sugaridoo Menina Quilt Along, in November, we're officially going to announce the project, and then you can find the requirements for the fabrics on the Bernina blog. Yeah, so then you can buy your own fabrics if you want to, and I will give the color numbers and the amounts of fabric that you need. But as you could see, I already have fabric coming in. I started cutting because everything is delayed, and yeah, it's not easy accessible right now, the fabrics. So I started making some kits already. So if you're interested in a kit for the Sugaridoo Menina Quilt Along, just send me an email. Then I can already direct you to the links for the kits, because I'm not sure how many kits I will be able to make and how long they will take to come into the studio and then ship out. So if you contact me, then you can be sure that yours will be in well before the Quilt Along starts in January. But if you want to make it with your own fabrics, the information will come in November. Sabine is asking, no more crochet toys. I started my business out by designing amigurumi, so these little crochet toys. That's where I started my business with. But no, I'm not designing them anymore. I think every once in a while I will pick up some yarn and crochet hook and start crocheting again, and my digital patterns will be available from my shop. But no, that's not my main focus in business anymore. Yeah, so they are still around, but there won't be a lot of new toys coming up. Hello everyone. You're really from all over the world. Colby is asking, how do you manage short? How do you manage /sort / use your scraps? Well, I have some boxes with scraps. I actually have two. I will get them. Well, at least this is one of them. I have two boxes, and I sort them by putting all the warm colors in one box and all the cooler colors in this box. Yeah, and it's really kind of a mess in here, but when I would love to start a project with scraps, I'll just get them out and sort them and see what I need. So sometimes there's little pieces that are already sewn together. Some pieces are a little bit bigger. Some pieces are weird size, tiny scraps. I don't think I save smaller than this. So yeah, that is how I sort my scrap fabric. So not very neatly, but they're sorted by color, and then I can use them when I want to start a scrap project. And I actually did start a scrap project. But yeah, I started it in my old studio. I didn't come across it when I moved in here. But it was a fun one. So it was a project where I just would make blocks and then cut those up and sew them together with I think a white solid. So make half square triangles with scrappy fabric and white triangles. So you can add and add, and then when you're ready, you can sew it together. A fun project to use up scraps, but don't know actually where it is right now. Mia says hi from Finland. That is wonderful over there in Finland. Thank you so much. Oh, yeah, Karen asked, what is the smallest scrap you save? I think about 2 inch. Maybe when the fabric is really pretty, that I would save smaller pieces. Yeah. Mia Maria asks, do you do any charity, and if what kind? Not really. Our Dutch Modern Quilt Guild does, but from which Sugaridoo, I'm not doing anything for charity yet. Oh, well, that's not completely true. I did make a droomdekentje, and that is translated in English to dream blanket, and that goes to children who are very sick or to their brothers or sisters. Yeah, we really need the comforting blanket. So I did make a project for that. I would love to do more, but I just haven't got to figuring out what or how. So and also when I have lots of materials left over, I sometimes donate that, but nothing on a regular basis yet. What is the easiest foundation paper piecing pattern for beginners? Barbara asks. Well, I thought about that a lot because I have a foundation paper piecing course, and I thought about starting with a super simple sewing two or three fabrics together kind of pattern for a beginner. But that is easy to do, and then you will learn the steps, but you won't learn everything that there is to it for foundation paper piecing. Because when you do foundation paper piecing, most of the patterns will have multiple sections that you also need to join together. So in my course, I'm starting with a block that might not look that simple, but we're starting with the simplest section. And then from there, you will get the hang of the steps that you need to do. And then you will also learn how to take on more challenging kind of foundation paper piecing patterns. So I don't think you need to start with the easiest pattern in the world, but maybe don't start with the smallest. So if you're afraid to start, maybe enlarge a block, make it a little bit bigger. Also not too big, because sewing a very large paper piecing pattern is in a different way more complicated. So yeah, what is the easiest foundation paper piecing pattern for a beginner? Not too many sections, but yeah, maybe you should just join the foundation paper piecing course, and I can teach you. Would love that. Let's see. Oh, and if I skip your question because maybe I don't see your comment, just post it again. Then I will share and get to it, I hope. Deborah says, sorry, mugs. Oh, mugs. Yeah, you asked that. I saw your question and then forgot about it. I noticed indeed that they are not in the shop. I will make sure to put them in the shop on Monday. Yeah. Kay says, I am looking forward to your foundation paper piecing announcement. Just wondering if you prefer using freezer paper or teabag paper. How does the teabag paper hold out in the quilts after washing? 2 questions. So what do I prefer? That depends on if I repeat the block lots of times. So for example, when I would make a quilt with only penguins, then I would repeat that pattern. And freezer paper you can reuse. So that's awesome for when you would make multiple of the same blocks in one quilt. And if that would be a quilt like my sampler, for example, with lots of different blocks, then I would use teabag paper. And how does teabag paper hold out in the quilts after washing? Well, teabag paper is literally that. It is paper made for tea bags. So you can make it wet like you would put the bag in your tea, and it could dry again. So you can just leave it behind the blocks, and I think that's awesome about it. So here's one block, for example, that came back from my testers. And here you see the teabag paper on the back. And you can just leave it like this, where normal printing paper or other types of paper you have to rip away. But this you can just leave it behind. And it's not too thick that it will, how do you say that, annoy you when the quilt is finished. So that's perfect. Such a pretty block, right? And this is what I meant with sections. So this in itself would be a section, for example. That is quite an easy section. And then this maybe is a little bit more challenging section because it has smaller pieces in it. So a block could look complicated, but the sections could be easy or a little bit harder. Jayanti is saying, can you please make a session on drawing, designing on paper or iPad? I would love that. Yeah, would be wonderful. I would love to make also a course about designing your own blocks. That's really something that I'm working on, but just have to find the time to make that course. And Splibrago is asking, can we look forward to a fabric line for you one day? Yes, I hope so. Yeah, I hope so, but no news on that. Jenny is asking, do you plan to add USD prices on your store products? Would be helpful. Yes, I am planning on that. I've tried to do that. It's just a tiny bit complicated because then your browser needs to see where you live, and when that's not clear for the browser, then it cannot show the correct prices. So have to figure it out a little bit more because it's kind of complicated. But when I would get a new website in the future, and I am planning to have my site and course area redesigned, then I definitely am going to ask for that feature in it. Bo has a question saying, will you have the past year quilt along patterns available? Yeah, I will. When I have fabrics back in for the kits of the previous quilt along, because people still want to make that quilt, which is awesome, and it was a really nice kit. So when I have that back in, you can order the kit and get emails with all the links to the patterns and the videos. So that will make it a little bit more convenient. And all the patterns and videos are also linked on my website, sugaridoo.com/QAL. So not sure if that list is complete until the very last session. If not, just email me, then I will make sure to do that soon. But there you can also find all the links. So sugaridoo.com/QAL. Are there any, Colby is asking, are there any quilting related words that you find hard to translate between Dutch and English? Well, I think we use a lot of English words in our Dutch quilting. So, but it does happen that I have no clue of the Dutch word and that there is a Dutch word. So what's an example of that? Sashing, for example. I know that it's called sashing, but I had a really hard time figuring out what it was in Dutch. and it's called, I think we just call it tussenstrook, which means in between strip. Quite literal, but most words we will just use English. Oh, Karen is saying, I thought the cherry project was pretty easy to do in the course. Thanks. Yeah, so the projects in the course are not the most easiest, most easy. Well, they're not the most simple, but I think they are really doable, and I'm showing you in all videos. I checked today, and it's more than 4 hours of video materials in there. I'm taking you step by step, so you can pause the video and just see what I'm doing and follow along. Sharon is asking, would you ever like to get a long arm quilting machine? Well, not really at the moment. I love to sit down and be able to have two hands on my quilt and steer my quilt that way. And when you would be doing long arm quilting, then you would have one hand on your ruler and your work, and then move the machine with your hand. So then your project is still, the quilt is still, and then you move the machine and you're standing up. And I tried that before I said yes to using the Q16, and I wasn't such a big fan. So maybe in the future, and maybe it is nice when you're doing tons of quilts and you really need to finish quilting fast. I'm not sure, but I could imagine that you would then like to have a long arm quilting machine, or when you want to have computerized quilting, a long arm quilting, a long arm machine can also do that. But for now, I love the sit down. So no wishes for a long arm in the near future. Time for tea. Yeah, with so many. Thank you all so much for joining. Really wonderful. Imagine that you would all be here with 170 people in the studio. Would be would be quite cozy. Miketa is asking, did you already talk about your tables, yes, / shelving under your sewing table from IKEA? Also, what is your sewing table made of? Well, the shelving is here in the Netherlands is called Kallax. It's just those 2x4 things that you can buy at IKEA. You can also buy them 2x2 and 1x4, etc. So I think those are awesome building blocks for whatever kind of sewing area you want to make. Just measure how high and how big you want it, and then order some of those IKEA shelves. And the tabletop, it is actually it's 2 layers of, what is it called? It's just wood. Is it called plywood, where you have lots of layers of wood glued on top of each other? So it's 2 of those, and that was really nice because we glued 2 of those together. So first we placed one, and then we could screw that to the foundation, to the other shelves, and then we glued the thinner one on top of that. So you don't see any screws on top of my table, but it is really sturdy and nice in place. And then my father-in-law rounded off the corners of the table so that it's really smooth and we won't have any children running and bumping into sharp corners. So that is what the tabletop was made of. Ipsy is asking, do you do go as you go videos? Do you mean quilt as you go, so that you first quilt areas and then sew it together? I did that for the previous quilt along. So in one of the final videos of the previous quilt along, I've sewn together pieces of that quilt. So that is the only quilt as you go that I did. But I think I quite elaborately showed and explained the process there. So yeah, there is a video and blog post about that, also on the Vanina blog. Mary T is asking, could you show the Teabag paper? Does it come on a roll? Yes, sure. I will get it. there I was again. So yes, it does come on a roll. So I have it over here. This is how I buy it at wholesale. And then I package it. I cut it up in pieces of 1, 2, 5, or 10 meter. Meter is about the same as a yard. And then I package it like this. So you can buy it in those quantities, and that is what it looks like. And the paper itself, it's just really thin. This is a lot of layers. I'm not sure this is going to show well on video, but yeah, it's really nice and see-through, and it's a wonderful material to work on. So that is Teabag paper. How would unprinted newspaper work for paper piecing? Great. You can really do paper piecing on any type of paper. Newspaper you just have to rip away after you're done. But yeah, for sure, that's nice and thin and easy rippable when you're done. So I guess that would work fine. Also in the foundation paper piecing course, I'm showing how you do foundation paper piecing on normal printing paper. So if you don't have freezer paper or teabag paper, I'm showing you how to do it on normal paper as well. Bobo's asking, will you have the past year quilt along patterns available? Oh wait, I think I answered that one already. Oops, where am I? Elsa's asking, I want to finish your Bernina so long. I started and my mother was sick. I'm so sorry. So sorry to hear that, Elsa. She's asking, could I finish it to find? Could I find it to finish it? Yes. So just hop over to sugaridoo.com/QAL. And if not everything is there, send me an email, then I'll make sure that it's there. Nikita is asking, I love cherries. Will that be in your October 5th class? Yes. There will be 2 mug rocks that we will be making, and one of them is cherries. Mark Lucy is asking, any chance for some small Christmas project? Yes, actually, I have a lovely foundation paper piecing project for placemat. Wait a sec. There it is. I still have kits available for this. You can order it by 1 placemat, 2, or 4. And those are all different foundation paper piece trees. A lovely little project to make. So there's a pattern for this, and you can also find the kit for it. Thanks, Betsy. My English is amazing, thank you. I'm trying my best. Sometimes it's difficult to find words, but YouTube is helping. So making videos for you, it's improving my English, I think. Oh well, I think there are some spam comments coming in. Not sure how to fix that. I'm sorry. Can you tell us more about the program you used to print the design quilt block? I was not sure what it was called. It had an 8 in the name. Yes, it is called Electric Quilt 8. That's the version I'm using. I think Electric Quilt 7 is also available. Not sure, but those 2, Electric Quilt is an awesome program for designing quilts. So you can play around with blocks. You can make foundation paper piecing patterns in there. But before you jump into it, you do need to understand, of course, how foundation paper piecing pattern works, but the program can do much more than that. You can also make download swatches of fabric in there, so you can see how a quilt will look. When you use, for example, Moda swatches, you can download those from Moda site and then import them in Electric Quilt. Wonderful, wonderful program to work with. And you can print your patterns on there. Margriet is saying hi from Canada. Have you published any patterns in any quilt magazines like Make Modern magazine or in other online ones? Yeah, I have. Now I just need to think about it. I have published in the quilt magazines, not in the modern Make Modern. I would love to write a pattern for them, but I've never called subjected. I've never sent in a pattern to that magazine, but I have made one for Love Patchwork and Quilting. I guess it was that one and a Dutch magazine. So yeah, but those are not available anymore. Justine says, will you be doing any more courses as I enjoyed last year? Yes, so I am planning to do a course on how to design your own foundation paper piecing patterns, but that one could take a while. And because it's just going to be a big one, I guess. And in the meantime, I would love to film smaller courses or even maybe an hour workshop that you can follow, or would love to do that. So yes, there are definitely new courses, workshops coming up, but probably starting somewhere February, so somewhere like that, something like that. Mia saying, have you ever made quilt with other fabrics than cotton? No, I haven't. I think flannel would be lovely and cuddly, but I haven't really found the fabrics in colors or patterns that I would like to make a quilt with. Margriet is asking, do you use temporary spray glue on your Teabag paper? No, I don't. I do use temporary spray glue on paper when I print on Teabag paper. I think I have a video about that, but when I want to print on Teabag paper, this is at your own risk. Don't destroy your printer with this, but I know mine can take it, so I spray glue a little bit on a normal sheet of printing paper, then I paste another sheet of printing paper on it, pull them apart, so then they are a little less sticky, then I place Teabag paper on it and run it through my printer. But besides that, yeah, when I make a quilt sandwich and there is a Teabag paper on the block, then I will put it on my Teabag paper, but otherwise not. Does the Teabag paper stay in or do you tear it out? Yeah, I leave it in. Chris is asking, will the paper piecing course go over how to draw your own patterns? No, this one is not. This one is how to really confidently do foundation paper piecing. So learn the basics and get confident in doing paper piecing. Oh, Audrey says, I made that placemat. Really nice to do. Still need to quilt it. A bit scared to start. That is lovely, Audrey. I love that you made it. Yeah, it is a fun one to quilt. I can tell a little bit of how I quilted it. I think I made a video about this. Have you seen it, Audrey? I kind of mimicked snow a little bit by making these small loop-to-loop designs after first stitching around the trees. So perfect camera work this, but I guess you can see. So kind of little loop-to-loops. Not completely straight line. You can also mimic it by just making a kind of a wavy line. I think that works really nice with this pattern. Susie is saying I have EQ8. Yeah, it's a wonderful program. Deborah saying, please don't forget about your ironing process. Do you mean how I iron? In the beginning of the Q&A, I showed where I store my ironing board. So if you've missed that, just rewatch the Q&A after we're done. But I have it stored underneath my table. And Karen's asking, how long did it take to figure out EQ8? Well, not very long, but I think that also has to do because I worked a lot with similar programs. So I use a lot with programs for programming, for drawing, for like technical drawings. So yeah, I use a lot of those kind of programs. So it didn't take too long to get familiar with it. But if you're completely new, I'm sure that they have nice, what's it called? Manuals and things like that to get you started. It's a very big and well-known program, so they for sure have that in place. And maybe I could do a course on EQ8 sometime, or a little workshop or something like that. Would be nice, maybe. Hey, Gert, someone from the Netherlands. So nice to see you have such an international following again. Well done. Thanks. Yeah, it's wonderful. It's always strange to imagine where you're all watching from. Oh, Sylvia's joining. Glad you're here. Lucia says, how long have you been quilting and what prompted you to start your own business? How long have I been? I always, when I get this question, I think I should remember the year that I started, but I'm not sure when I started. It must have been around 2012, maybe something like that. I think that's around when I started, quite a while ago. And I started because I got a old sewing machine from my mother's neighbor, and that sewing machine was just standing there, and I thought, okay, when I have a sewing machine, I should do something with it. And my mom has been a quilter for many years, and I never wanted to start quilting because I didn't really like the fabrics, and well, yeah. Then I came across a website from the US where they had all these really beautiful, colorful, modern quilting fabrics. So yeah, that is when I thought, okay, when it looks like this, I think I would want to try to make a quilt. Yeah, that is when I started. And the other part of the question is what prompted me to start my own business. Well, actually, that was a monkey that I crocheted and that I designed. I was on a holiday in Denmark, and I was crocheting a monkey. And then people on Facebook ask, hey, do you have a pattern for that? Well, no, I designed it myself. And so people were asking about it. And then I thought, okay, maybe I could just put it up on Etsy and then see so that a few people could buy it. And that kind of went very big because that monkey is almost selling every day. So it's still a quite popular little monkey. And that started it. So then I started with designing crocheted toys, and moved on to designing quilts from there, because I have a mechanical engineering background and I love mathematics and mathematical drawing on grid paper. This is called grid paper. I love that. So designing quilts is something I just really love. And the design process of making crocheted toys is quite different because that's a lot of trial and error. And when I design a quilt and I draw it, I know already how it will look like or what it will look like and how I should make it. So different design process. That's the most important part why I switched to quilting. Let's see. Which long arm would you get if you couldn't be a Bernina? Well, I talked about it a little bit before. I think I don't really. I'm not really interested in a long arm. So and for sit downs, I think I've only tested out one other sit down, but I can't remember the brand. I think that was on a craft fair. So yeah, I can't really compare it. Thanks. The snow quilting is fantastic. Yeah, I thought that really looked nice on that little quilt. Oh wait, Mia's asking a question. Have you ever thought of designing a 3D paper piecing? Yes, yes, I've done. I've thought about that a lot. That would be so cool to make 3D quilting projects. So if I ever think of something that I can make in 3D, that we kind of build something out of fabric, I would sure make a pattern for it. would love that. And Patsy is asking, how did you come up with the name Sugaridoo? Well, funny that you asked that, because from next week, I'm going to post 2 videos on YouTube a week. 2 videos. I know, kind of crazy, but now that I have Fleur who is editing my videos for me, it's so much easier for me to put out a video. So I decided to go back to making weekly videos where I discuss books or tips and tricks or projects. And there's going to be a weekly video on Tuesday where I have a Q&A. So you can ask a question and then I will just answer one question each week. And the first one is going to be this one. So just watch the video on Tuesday and you will know exactly where the name came from. I think we're almost through all the questions. Graft paper, also saying thanks. Graft paper. Okay. And she's saying it's amazing how far you have come in such a short time. I love your work. Always look forward to seeing what you are working on. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's crazy sometimes. I sometimes have the feeling that I only have 2 modes. So one is doing nothing and needing to catch your breath, and one is going super fast and doing all the projects and coming up with all the ideas. Yeah, and I tried to make that average, but I don't know, maybe that's just not working for me. So yeah, after I've started working again, after my pregnancy leave, and after a few months after Ella was born, I'm so full of energy, and not always, by the way, what you see on Instagram and YouTube, I'm not always this energized. A lot of days in between, I'm tired, and well, we have little kids around, so that's completely normal. But the days that I am working, I just can't wait to do all the projects. So yeah, now that I've started again, so many things are coming up. So the big things that are coming up are, first of all, of course, the foundation paper piecing course. Going to tell you more about that in a sec. Then my new book. I'm writing a new book that's coming up in November with all new foundation paper piecing patterns. So if you don't know that technique, perfect moment to go and do the course, learn foundation paper piecing so that you can make the project for my book. And then in January, we will start with a new Brunina Q&A, no, Brunina quilt along. Yeah, big things coming up. Just going to see for a few more minutes if there's more questions coming in. There is one. Sylvia saying, I want to see Ella quilt when done. Yes, of course. I'm making a quilt with the giraffes and Ella's name. So when it's done, I hope I'm going to finish it soon. Because it's the size of the playpen. So I hope it's called playpen, I think, right? That the kind of bed box that you have in the living room where a baby can play in. I'm not even sure if that's a Dutch thing or that is international, but it's the size of that. So I hope I finish it before she outgrows that. I didn't manage that with Shul. I finished his quilt after that. He was out of that. Ipsy says, you simplify how to do things and make it so easy to understand. Thanks, Irene. I'm also making second quilt from last year, the quilt long one. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, I think the quilt long one is a wonderful quilt to make, even now the quilt long is done. La Franglaise says, is there a reason that you are attracted to rainbow colors? I ask this as I know that for some people it helps with anxiety. Is it? Oh, that's wonderful. I didn't know that. No, it just really makes me happy. So when I would sit here and this would be all dark red and greens and cream and browns, wouldn't really make me that happy. So I just use them because I love those a lot. Rebecca says, I did a foundation paper piecing course last year. It was so good. I've made so many foundation paper piecing things since. Thank you. Thank you so much. Love to hear that. Oh, yeah, there's a question. I'd love to know, if you haven't already discussed, what is the flooring you used in your new studio? Actually, it's just concrete, and there's floor heating in it. But on top of it, I've just painted it. I just painted it white, and I thought, let's first see how this goes, and if I really don't like it, or if it gets too dirty too soon, then or too quickly, I can always put flooring over it. But this is just some special concrete paint. It's very easy to do, by the way. So yeah, quick and easy. Playpen. Yeah, Mary, I think it's called playpen. Ah, thank you. Thank you all so much for those wonderful comments. Thanks so much. Patsy saying paint is peeling on her concrete. Yeah, it hasn't been peeling here. I did buy it at a specialized painting shop, so not sure. It does damage quite quickly, but I'm not too bothered with it. But it hasn't been shipping yet. So Lucia is asking a question. I think I'm going to make that the final one. Then I'm going to tell you something about the paper piecing course, and then it will be the end of the live Q&A. Lucia is saying, I just got on, so I'm sorry if this question already posted. Oh, yeah. How did you come up to the name Sugaridoo? Yeah, it was already asked, and I haven't answered it because I'm going to answer it this Tuesday in the very first Q&A Tuesday video. So make sure to watch that one. And if you have more questions, like I said, you can post it on those Q&A Tuesday videos. So if you post your question in the comment section over there, then who knows, maybe I will answer that one in a Q&A Tuesday video. Also, if you want to see a detail of a technique, or if you, for example, a question could be, how should I quilt the Christmas placemat, and then I could show that in a Q&A Tuesday video. So the first ones are already filmed, but if you leave your question there, I can get to that. So yeah. Yeah, so I'm sorry if there are more questions in here. Oh, Ipsy is not saying, I think this is about the videos. Is it at the same time? Not sure what time the videos are going to be up, but those are not live, so they will just be scheduled, and you can watch them. So sorry that I'm not going to answer more questions. We're already here for almost an hour. So about the foundation paper piecing course, super excited to do it again. So last time was in 2020 that we did it for the first time with a big group of quilters. It was wonderful to do that. And now things have changed a little bit since then. So I thought I'll just talk about it a little bit and then let you know about the special announcement. I have some discount and some extras with it. So the course is going to run for 6 months when you join in, and you can join in now, and then of course you will get the extras, but from when you join, so when the course starts on the 5th of October, you will have 6 months, difficult word, of access to the course, and then you can do it in your own time. So when you open the course, you will see all the course materials or all the lessons, so you can go through it in a weekend or spread it out. Last time we did it every week a new module, and there are 4 modules in there, so you could do it in 4 weeks, and then yeah, learn everything you need to know about foundation paper piecing in your own pace. You can still ask questions within the lessons, so within the lessons you can leave your messages. I will get to that and answer your questions in there. And I'm going to host 4 Q&A sessions each year. So when you join the course, you will have at least 2 Q&A sessions with me on Zoom, and those will be recorded and also posted in the course. So also the Q&A sessions of the previous course will be in there. So you have lots of material to watch. And one of the extras, so there's going to be, how do you say that? Actie in Dutch, but I don't know how to say that. But for the next 48 hours, when you buy the course within the next 48 hours, so until Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you will have 20% discount on the course. That's the first one. So that 20% discount will only be valid for the first 48 hours. And you'll get early access to the course. So you get access on the 1st of October and have a live Q&A extra with me on the 3rd of October. So everybody who joins after this weekend will get access to the course on the 5th of October. But if you jump in this weekend, then you will get some extra time with me in that first weekend. So on the 1st of October, you will have access to go and take a look at the materials and see if there's something on forehand that you want to discuss with me. And then you would have all the time with me in a live Q&A on the 3rd of October. So that's an extra that you get when you sign up for the course this weekend. And the third extra is that you will get one special foundation paper piecing with it that I'm not going to sell in my shop or anything. It will be just special for you, made because you joined in early on the course. So yeah, those are, so there's a discount of 20%. So the course normally would be 99 euros. And with a 20% discount, it would be 79 euros. And that's only valid for this weekend. And then there are 3 extras. So you will have early access on the 1st of October with the extra live Q&A with me on the 3rd of October, and a free pattern, foundation paper piecing pattern that you can make after the course is finished. That is kind of a limited edition because I'm only going to give it to the people who join in early to the course. So that is for the course itself. And then there's a lot of material that you could use within the course. And I've made a list for that in my web shop. And if you would like to order that with your course, you can use the code I was here, as in I was here in the live Q&A. I'm not going to send that in the emails that I will send after this. So only if you join the live Q&A, you will know about that code. You can use it in your shopping cart when you check out, and that will give you 10% discount on all the tools that you might need for foundation paper piecing. So on Teabag paper, on rulers, on rotary cutter, cutting mats, there's 10% discount if you use the code I was here. Yeah, lots of information. You can check it all out on sugaridoo.com/fpp. So let me just put that in the live chat. So www.sugaridoo. So professional like this. I'm sure that there should be an easy way to do this. So FPP, that is the course, and the code is I was there. Yep. So I was there with the code, and I'm just going to check a little bit in the comments to see if there's questions about the paper piecing course. Yeah, a little question about someone who also already had a pre-sale of the quilt along kit. Yes, you can add rulers to that. I'm going to send out an email next week if you want to add rulers to your quilt kit for the quilt along. Yeah, that's possible. Thanks, Ipsy. Thank you so much for joining here. Thanks, Garen. Are you looking forward to learning in a foundation paper piecing course? Never thought I'd like it, but it looks fun. Yes, it is going to be so much fun. And the thing with foundation paper piecing really is if you're not getting your head around completely, so if you understand it a little bit, then it could be very frustrating because you keep doing it mirrored, or it's not really your fabric is being too short on the side, or it's just then it's not a fun technique. But if you really get confident and really understand the steps that you're doing, then it's going to be wonderful. A wonderful technique with which you can do and make so many wonderful quilts. So lovely that you're joining. Margriet is asking, when you buy a course in foundation paper piecing, can you review the video later as you need it again? Yeah, so all the video materials, everything will be up there for 6 months. And that is also kind of a motivation for you to get started, because it's easy enough to buy a course and then put it aside and think, yeah, I'm going to do this sometime, and then you're not going to use it, and that's just I think that's a shame, because it's so fun to allow yourself that creative time to learn a new technique and do something fun for you. So I hope that not setting it open as access for life, but access for 6 months, which is a very long time. Even if you would do a module a month, then you would be done in 4 months, and you can do a weekend a month practicing your skills. But yeah, after that, so it's 6 month access, and then you have full access to all the videos. And then after that, it closes for you. A perk, a little something extra. Oh, thanks, Sally. Lurlian says, how do you register? You can just go to sugaridoo.com/FBP, and there you can find the link to sign up. La Franglaise says, as an amateur, I only do EPP and hand quilting. Could I follow a course? I have a sewing machine, or would it be too difficult for me? Merci. You could definitely do the course. So what you need for the course is fabrics, and you need a sewing machine that can do a straight stitch. And then you can do everything that I do in my course. So I have an extra video in there even where I show you how to do it just with a machine and printing paper without anything fancy besides that. So you could even use scissors instead of a rotary cutter. Just using a rotary cutter and a quarter ruler would make it more easy. But yeah, it's definitely a beginner friendly, and as long as you can do a straight stitch on a sewing machine, then you can join. Would love to have you in the course. Yeah, so Sally is asking, can you show the FPS so we know what the kit makes? What's the FPS? Is there a photo of the quilt, or is it a mystery? Do you mean for the quilt along? For the new quilt along, it's not going to be a mystery quilt along. If you want to know more information about that, just send me an email at info@sugaridoo.com. Then I can share some sneak peeks with you, as we haven't announced it officially yet. Nadia saying, do you know projects similar to Teabag Paper? I am discussing that in the course as well. And yeah, so yes, shipping costs are high from here. But I don't have a similar paper that you can buy in the US which has the same quantities. Maybe foundation paper. That is a bit thicker. That might be something to look into. And one question that I'm going to end with, well, two actually. How do we sign up in the US dollars? When you go to payment, you can pay with PayPal or your credit card, and then it will be translated to dollars. But if you want to know the amount on forehand, the only way now is to just ask Google. So when you see the total amount in your checkout, just go to Google and then enter, for example, 100 EUR to USD. So 100 euro to dollar, and then Google will give you the amount that will be charged in dollar. I always use that to translate between dollar and euros. Just going to end with this one, so just saying, you look so happy. Thank you so much. You all being here makes me super happy. So there are even 180 of you here. Thank you so very much for joining. I hope I answered your questions, and if not, please send me an email also about the course. If you need more information, maybe you can rewatch the Q&A if I went too fast, and if you still have a question, just email me and I will get back to you in that. Thanks. It was such great fun to do a very first YouTube live. I enjoyed it a lot, so maybe we're just going to do this again another time. I would love to see you in the paper piecing course. Yeah, I would hope that I may have the chance to teach foundation paper piecing to you there. And otherwise, just see you in the next Sugaridoo video here on the Sugaridoo YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining. Well, that's it. See you again soon. Bye bye.